Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On the Texas flag,
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
With Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, as amended, known as the Texas Open Meetings Act. Any members of the public who wish to speak shall each have 5 minutes to address the court. Yes.
Thank you, Freestone County, for voting to stop forced annexation. A big shout out to our legislators in Austin for developing the legislation last year to enable us to stop forced annexation in the county. Thanks also to the elected leaders of the county. I appreciate all that the county has done to support this process. The majority of voters on election day voted in a very loud and clear voice to stop forced annexation and speaking out for a very much needed change, not only in the county but what other counties of the state should do. One of the most interesting and rewarding parts of this process was, and strictly the process, was meeting a lot of folks in the county that I otherwise hadn't met. Some of you might know that I worked my career down in Jewett, just out of the county, but generally largely in isolation of the population of the county. And this process got me out, met a lot of folks, a lot of very interesting folks, and I may be one of the few people who can claim that they know where Lone Star Baptist Church is, which is, that was an adventure getting there, and I believe that happens to be voting precinct 12. And just as it would have, there's a voting precinct 12 in Oakwood, just south of the Union Pacific track. And we thought that was it, although it didn't look anything like a church, it looked like some kind of industrial barn or facility. And we thought this was it. It said, vote here. And we thought, this is it. And we'd stop the guy, and he said, yeah, this is precinct 12. I said, this must be it, but it's not the Lone Star Baptist Church, and he didn't know where that was. And but to come to find out, that was in Leon County, but it happened to be in Oakwood. It happened to be precinct 12. So then we head off cross country, across the highway into southern part of Freestone County, and we ran across a guy there who he knew where the church was. Thank goodness for that. But he basically told us you couldn't get here from here. Couldn't get there from here. You had to go somewhere else first. And so we followed his instructions, and we eventually got to the church. But lots of adventures for sure. Now all citizens of the county, both in town and rural, are wished well in the jurisdiction they have chose to live in. So all the best for everyone in the county, and thanks again, Freestone County, for your vote and for restoring democracy in the county. Thank you.
I'd like to echo Mark's words. It was most interesting for me. As most of you know, I've only lived here about 4 years or so after moving out from San Angelo, and I got to see parts of the county and know where things are in the county now. Places that I never thought I would travel, but you know, it was kind of fun to do that. I think the biggest winners in all of this are the voters and the residents of the county. I've never been involved in anything like this before, and it's very, very self-satisfying. I want to say to you guys from the beginning, when we sat down with you, Judge, right here at this table, to begin this process, from you to Brian Evans, to you guys on the Commissioner's Court, to Linda back there in the County Clerk's office, all the help that you gave, we couldn't have done it without that support, and we really, really appreciate that. Well, thank you very much.
All right, if there's nothing else, we'll move to item number 1 to approve the payroll.
I make a motion to approve the payroll. Second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None, the motion carried. Item number 2 is to consider the minutes of the October 24th regular meeting.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None, motion carried. Item number 2, budget transfers and amendments.
Judge Grant, there's 2 amendments. They were for the donations that were approved on the 24th, and one of them was for $4,500 and for the Sheriff's Department, and one of them was $5,000 for Road and Bridge Precinct 2. There they are.
And we're through with that bridge and traffic on it, and I made a motion to approve those transfers.
Second.
To approve the budget amendments and,
Yeah, and transfer.
all right, and does that also include these certifications on the money? That was,
$4,500.
4,500 and 5,000. Your motion includes that? And who made the second?
And that one. Yeah.
Okay, and it does include
Yes, ma'am.
the certifications. All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None, motion carried. Item number 4, approve and pay bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the bill.
I second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 5, reports. We have a report from JP3 for October. Also have a report for October from the tax office. Any other reports?
The only thing, sheriff's office advises, we've got a leak in the wall in our plumbing, that we're trying to coordinate with a welder and a plumber to get it all fixed, because the shower, it's in the shower wall in our 9-man cell, so we're working on getting that taken care of. Other than that, keeping everything running like it needs to be, one way or another.
Any other reports? If not, do we have a motion to accept the reports?
Make a motion to accept the report. I second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Item number 6, burn ban. We do not have a burn ban in effect. If there's no motion, we'll go to item number 7, special road use agreements.
I got three for CCI canceled. 141, 506, and 151. I like to leave them in effect.
So there's no motion on those. No motion to cancel. Do you want to just mail those back to them, or what do you want to?
I sure can. I'll be more than happy to, and just say that there's no action taken.
No action taken.
That
That way, if you want to keep a copy, you can keep a copy of whatever you want to do.
That's what I can do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other special road use agreements? If none, we'll go to item number 8. Approve bonds and education certificates. Have a bond for Linda Mallory, $5,000. Second assistant county. Anyone else?
I got one for, how much would you see that? How much is it?
8,000.
Oh, yeah.
For Sean Tippin. JP precinct.
About the same one.
Same one? We
Yeah,
all
he
need one?
got that. Yeah, that is Sean Tippin. What's that? Oh.
I have the original, do you have the original?
No, ma'am?
Anyway.
You ever want to
Is it?
pass that to me?
I think I left mine in there. I guess I'm. Don't I have this morning?
Anybody that handles mine, I'm supposed to get
Okay. Oh, okay.
Mine is, I have a box in there. Me and Eddie got one from school yesterday, 6.5 hours. Back around school, one.
And Michael Daniels has one.
I didn't pass good,
Uh-oh,
but I got a certificate.
there it is. I won't read it out loud to everybody, for all four.
Got off everything.
Thank you very much. If not, we have a motion to approve the bonds and education certificate.
I second.
All in favor, aye. Thank you, had it in the wrong spot. Okay. Item number 9, renewal of workers' comp.
Okay, so our new policy came in, and the invoice came in, and with consideration with our rates, the rates went down because we have not had any claims. And so it's about $3,000 less this year than it was last year, so.
Or anything ever goes down.
Keep saying what?
We can change, but if we're gonna change, we need to go out
Keep running, keep. Second.
The second, all in favor, aye. Do you want to just go ahead and mention now then that, since we have had, no claims or, that they have sent us a little letter asking if we would like to apply for
A safety, it's a safety award that we're up for, and all it is filling out an application, and we can do that or not do that, but it was up to y'all. If y'all wanted to do that, I can fill it out and send it in and, you know, be a little plaque or something, but just because we've had such a low, percentage of claims.
claims, not just workers' comp, but claims.
I think we should.
You could send the sheriff to receive it from us.
No, y'all can go. I go enough with it.
All right, I guess we can fill that out.
Yeah, I certainly will.
Y'all are doing a good job, thank y'all.
Yep.
Item number 10 is the ACS Government Record Services Service Agreement for the District Clerk's Office. And Teresa, you said this was same as we had before.
Yes, ma'am. That is my contract for my recording machine, my ACS machine. Same price, same as it was before. I just need it.
And Brian did review it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we can look at it. And he said it's gonna look all right with him.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So we got $12.95.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? No. Item number 11 is advance funding for the working VFD for the purchase of tools through the Texas A&M Forest Service grant.
Oh, was it me? I wasn't listening, I was talking to Brian, I'm sorry. I'm not just really prepared for this,
Now, y'all, am I right that y'all did apply for a grant for some tools and you received the grant?
yes.
Been awarded the grant?
Been awarded the grant, yes, ma'am. So it dates back a couple of months, and when I talked to Clyde the other day, I didn't realize that the county had funds set aside to help with the matching portions of the grant at the time. So I talked to Clyde, he said, yeah, let's get on the agenda. Well, to start from the beginning of this process, we were able to get a new rescue truck. It's not a new one, it's a used one, it's 3 years old, it has less than 20,000 miles on it. It's being outfitted right now. The city was gracious enough to purchase the truck for us. So then we went to looking at, well, we gotta get tools to rig it out with. You know, we have some, but not near enough needed to rig the rescue truck out. We had applied for this grant a couple of years ago and didn't get it. And with the forestry service, once you apply, it stays there. And you gain points every year on all your grants. So eventually you'll get them. Well, it just so happened shortly after that, I received a letter that we were awarded this grant this year. So the grant amount, the maximum that they will pay is $16,250. So I called the lady and I'm trying to figure out, they don't give it to you in plain country boy English that I can understand. So I called the lady down there, so we figured out, so our portion of the grant is $5,016.66. So
It's a 25% match
it's
rather
a
than a
25%
10%
match, yes, it's a 75-25. So like I said, the max that they pay is $16,250. Well, before we realized that we got this grant, we started making a list of what we needed, what needed to go on the truck. Of course, the biggest purchase of the two items was airbags, lifting bags that we didn't have, and then a cab system. The cab system is $2,000, that's a compressed air foam system. A little 60-gallon container will put out about 1,200 gallons of foam. So all in all, what the total purchase, everything that we purchased for the truck to go on there, we spent $25,421. Some of the invoices have been paid, all that has been paid, I've got two left that I haven't paid.
So that would leave that we spent $9,171.02 over the $16,250 that the grant covers. So I guess what I'm asking for today is, I'd like to have, if the county would be willing to do so, the $9,000 that we spent over the grant. Of course, if you're not willing to do that, the matching portion of our grant would be, $54,1666. So it's, I'm leaving it in y'all's court. So we're not greedy, we'll take anything we can get. And all the help should be appreciated. And I think I left copies of everything with y'all. I don't know if I left copies of all that. Get it to you, or if you want to look at it, or whatever you need.
I don't know that I know what I was reading, if you told me what I copy of it, so I'm just for
Well,
that.
I had a copy of
Yeah.
the grant letter and explanation of what it covers, and then I have a copy of the invoices.
All right, and Karen would need those.
Yeah, and she has all of it.
I have
But
most
think
of them.
you don't have the last invoice that I just got.
Right.
And then there's one more.
Okay.
Well, we got the national grant fund set up.
We do, normally we pay 10% because, that's what our policy's been, because the grants that everybody got was 10%. So that doesn't mean that we're stuck on the 10% though, that's just usually what they have been in the past.
I think we'll do that and take the rest of the precinct forward.
Okay, is that a motion?
When I ran for office, and that's been a long time ago, I did like a promise that I would do everything I could do to help the volunteer fire departments. And I've done everything I could do to honor that my whole time I've been here. And I will continue to do that as long as I'm here. And I do not mind helping any of them that are in my precinct. And I'm very fortunate, not just to have one, but I have about 5 or 6 fire departments, and I'm very proud of each and every one. And so whatever it takes for me at precinct 4 to take care of them, we'll do it.
We need to vote to it right now.
Don't let him keep talking.
So,
Well, we are.
But what we would like to do first is make sure that we've got this money that's here that other people has dipped in the past year. So now, since it's time
Now,
for.
we're in October, well, the first.
We're in a
of
brand
November.
new year, so I think it's time for precinct 4 and working fire department to dip in those funds and get what they need to get, and then we will.
Out of the general fund, you're saying?
Out of the funds that we gotta set aside to match the matching funds. And then whatever else the precinct 4 will help them in every way we can.
Elaine and Andy second.
We still need to vote on it.
Before long, y'all won't even make a motion, but that's
Well, we
okay.
already have a motion and a second to pay the 10% out of the general fund and the rest
Or
of the.
25, whatever it is.
I thought it was 25%.
We'll be
25.
25% on the grant.
Yeah, 25 on the grant.
Or
Okay.
you know, we do 10, 5 with me.
Y'all making the motion.
Let's put 15% on me.
And the extra.
Whatever y'all wanna do.
And the extra. And the extra.
No, let's just do this. My motion is pay 25% of the grant, and the rest come out of his. That ain't going to $3,000.
Second.
Appreciate it, Nancy.
It's $37.71.
We do appreciate the fire departments. We could not
Yes.
function without y'all. We appreciate everything that y'all do. It's amazing. I mean, it is such a blessing to this county. So, we're just kind of,
Well, we appreciate
Have a
that very
good
much.
Kelly, it's all about being for work on precinct 4, everybody okay, just hang out.
second to pay the 25% out of the general fund and then the rest out of 4.
Yep, there's a flashing grant, we just have to do a little bit higher.
Right, yeah, just okay, you got that here, the 25% of the grant out of that, and then, okay. And then everything that's above that will come out of it.
Thank y'all very much.
We voted, yes.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None, motion carried. All right.
Thank y'all very much. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you for what y'all do.
So there is some language in our employee handbook that I was told to take a quick look at, because it's my opinion, it's probably a little less nuanced than what it needs to be.
Yes, and we have this in our policy, but I think that people have not been, you said people have not been following that policy.
To my knowledge, which I wouldn't always know that because it's up to the department heads to
Yes.
say whether someone's been to training or not. So to my knowledge, there has been some that's been to training that has not reimbursed within a year.
Well,
And the sheriff said that he didn't realize that was in there, so you're in agreement to follow whatever the policy is what you're
I
saying.
want my money back if I'm sending people away to, I mean, it's costing other people that work for our county money. If I'm gonna send you to training and then you're gonna leave within a year, I want the money back because you've hurt the rest of the people at mine.
Because this is what he's talking about.
Right, and
He's getting some new language for us.
well, and listen, it's up to the commissioner's court and other people to chime in to see what we should do. I'm not saying, what we should or shouldn't do. I'm gonna present some of the negatives I see with the current language. Carrie Warner, right? She worked here as an assistant district attorney for a pretty long time. She went to Anderson County, she came back over here and worked for me. She has recently left and went back over to Anderson County. The way this language is set up, which I didn't realize it was actually in the policy as well, I would have been required for her to pay back her seminar money because she's going to go to the annual seminar like we do on a yearly basis, right? And so that's money that I pay for out of my budget to send my assistant district attorney, and Sydney will be the same way. And so, again, I didn't follow the policy either when she went back over to Anderson County because I should have made her pay back that seminar money, what it cost to send her. Do I think that's right in her specific situation? I don't. Right? She worked here for a while. She came back over with me. I realized why she was leaving for Anderson County. I thought it was a good move for her on her career. And so again, the way that it's set up might be a little too broad with the must that, because right now, the same thing with Sydney. Is my new assistant district attorney. If she decides to leave one day, she's going to have to pay back that seminar money because she's going to go every year, right? And so she's going to have to pay that back whether she works here for a year or whether she works here for 10 years.
And I'm in agreement with that to a certain extent because there's training that I'm going to make them go to. That was my decision. Just so happens the one that I'm talking about now, that was something he requested, something that I thought would benefit him, turn around and benefit the county and serving the citizens here. And then now, 3-4 months later, he's decided, he's better in his job because he's getting more money where he's going. Can't blame him there, but it still cost us $733 or something like that to send them, and that's a lot of training for the rest of my office down there that I could have used. So I get into a situation where if I'm sending you, I'm telling you to go, then I don't necessarily think I should reimburse that, get that reimbursed, because I'm the one that told you to go. But if you request to go to a training that's not necessarily a must, but something that's beneficial and it's on you, you did it, and I just agreed, hey, yeah, this is on this, and then you leave me, then that's a little different.
That's a really good point that the sheriff brings up, and I think that is a big difference of what we're looking at as to, hey, again, using my assistant district attorney, I'm going to make her basically go because she needs the CLE, she needs to stay up, her license needs to stay current, and so that's going to be a requirement of my office for her to go, as well as the connections and meeting other prosecutors. That benefits us greatly in my office, as opposed to somebody coming and saying, hey, I want to go and do this, is that okay? And potentially using that, I don't know if using that to go somewhere else, but definitely benefiting that person going somewhere else.
Did you read the last part he read, that second paragraph that he wrote?
Yes, I did, but that wouldn't qualify my office about what I just said.
But I think that's a good point too. If you hire people for jailers, for example, and they have to get that certain training in
Yes.
order to remain in that job.
Mhm.
So are you saying you would want them to have to repay that if they left, or not want them
Well, as far as being a jailer, as far as a regular jailer's license, I can keep them, we can work a jailer on a temporary license for 1 year. We have to get training 3 or 4 months. We got a training process to get them state certified 3 or 4 months prior to that, just to make sure we catch all the training classes. So basically, we hire somebody on, and within 6 to 8 months, we're trying to find them a school, because it may take them that long to, as far as where the school's at, when we can get them there and stuff like that. It may take us 3 or 4 months. So we'll start them on school, get them certified, so they can have that certification to work with me the next year. So that 1 year's temp, but then the next
to?
one.
I think maybe y'all ought to sit down and kind of talk about this language a little
Well,
bit, and then come back.
me and the chief had discussed it, because we were thinking about putting it in our policy and procedures in our own sheriff's office, because we have our own. And stipulating that, because we have to have 40 hours every 2 years anyway. This also is not part of that 40 hours. So, I mean, we have a whole different, training deal than the rest of the people.
I would like to, because I think this language, from what I remember, going back and when this language was put in, it was really for, I mean, y'all deal with a lot of different training, and you have a lot of different positions, right? And people getting hired and having to stay up. So I would like for us to, we may need some more sentences in here, but
What would
it's gonna.
qualify for everybody else running our qualify
Maybe
for
they
us?
need to have something in their policy that's different than what.
That's also could be the case, and that would be probably clearer for y'all to handle within your office, how you want that reimbursement to happen and who fits that bill
Right.
versus others. And like I said, maybe voluntary training versus
But I will
involuntary.
say that now that we know this, it ought to be being followed. If it's a county policy and procedures, then this is what needs to be followed. So if anybody's ahead of their office is letting anybody leave, then you're actually sending them away with county money that could have gone somewhere else. That's my opinion on that.
Right, and like I said, and I did
Some may
it,
not
but I
realize.
wasn't gonna charge Carrie for the work that she did. I'll pay it before she does. You know what I mean? Like her sacrifice and what she did coming over here, that, she doesn't fit, that's not what we're going for. I mean, that's a.
Right, no, no.
Yeah,
that's-
what he's saying, when he's sending, talking about Carrie to conference, is something she needs to do every year.
Every
That's
year,
just like our
just-
guys may have something that we need to do, and I'm not expecting that money back. They gotta do that regardless of where they're at, and as long as they're working here.
Yeah.
But,
How about if we just table this for them, and we'll just continue under the current policy we have until y'all can come up with some new language?
That sounds perfect,
Would
Judge.
that be good?
Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
what if you hire somebody in the sheriff's department, or your office, or her office, or her office? You send them to training. They say, well, we're gonna quit in a year or less than a year. Anybody, or they pay for that training. If you're gonna do it for one, do it for everybody.
And that's what we're trying to, that's what this language is.
But they said it's different in this part. But if they get training paid for by taxpayers' money, they need to stay here so long on this pay for it. Anybody.
And I agree, the problem I think that you run into is the reoccurring training that happens every year. So there's no way that somebody can leave, right, because it's always gonna hit that year mark. And it's the commissioner's decision, obviously, so I mean, that's something.
That's a good way to put it, because that's what I'm trying to say. That was a good way to put it, because each year, some of these guys have to have that same training. Well, that means they'll never be able to leave without paying it back. And they
Even
gotta
if
have it
they work
anyway.
here for 20 years.
Yeah, I think that's just something that comes with the job.
Okay. How about if do we have a motion to table this to give them an opportunity to try to work out some language for us?
Well, if it's mandatory training to keep your job, I don't think it should have to pay it back. If they come to you and ask to go to a
Right,
conference somewhere,
that's exactly what I'm
yeah,
saying.
they need to pay that back.
Yes.
I mean, that's cut and dry. I went and got my jail's license and paid for it myself,
Yes,
so it would benefit me and the county.
right. I agree. That's
It's
exactly what I'm
not,
saying.
it's not, it doesn't have anything to do with my job. I mean, it's not a requirement. Slide out here, it's not a requirement that you have it. So, I don't see the problem here.
versus the voluntary versus involuntary. You know, whether you're coming forward saying, hey, I want to go to something versus the sheriff or myself or any other head of their department saying, go to.
Do we have a motion
Okay, good.
to table until next week?
I'll make a motion to
Will that be
table.
enough time?
Yes, ma'am.
Until next week or until we.
And to continue under our current, start applying our current policy, is
Continue
that what
on
we're,
with our current policy.
or not?
Second.
All in favor, aye. Item number 13, reschedule the November 21st Commissioners Court meeting. And that's because we have Thanksgiving and payroll in the same week. So we're wanting to have that on Monday afternoon.
I would like to recommend at least Monday, and it can be Monday afternoon. The latest I would say would be Tuesday morning, because we have to have it to the bank by Tuesday at 1.
Well, we're at your mercy. You want to tell us what you want.
I don't know if I can be here.
I'm not sure if you'll leave.
I'll be here.
What day is it?
We'll talk about our next schedule.
Wednesday is payday. I get to pay on that Wednesday, so we have to have the direct deposit to the bank by 1 o'clock.
What day is Monday? Like, what's the date?
Sorry.
The 19th.
It's okay.
I think it's basically 19th.
It'll be good.
18th,
Hey,
19th.
question about that.
Monday afternoon,
Not sure I can be here.
okay? Can you be here? Andy, can you be here?
Yes, ma'am.
Monday afternoon. Now,
Perfect.
you need it kind of late in the evening so that, you know, you don't get them in till Monday.
Well, we're actually asking for them on Tuesday, the week before, so Monday's good with us, or Tuesday morning, however, whatever benefits Commissioners Court.
When are you asking for the time sheets?
I think it's that Tuesday.
That Thursday.
Thursday, yeah,
Is that
Thursday
Thursday?
before.
I looked this morning.
Terminal Wednesday, we have a Wednesday.
No, payday's Wednesday, we can't.
You won't get which bank?
I have to have,
Can we do it the 20th, that morning? That's Tuesday.
if you did it early, the 20th morning, yes.
So as you get here at 8 o'clock.
8, 9, either one.
9 o'clock.
Just like we're doing today, and it has to be to the bank by 1 o'clock today. It does crunch us down in case we have problems, but she went to do it just as soon as y'all got done, so.
Because there are a lot of people that draft, and so it has to be to the bank early enough.
Can we do it at 9 Tuesday?
I thought we were gonna do it on Monday.
I just looked and I had something on Monday.
9 o'clock, Tuesday morning.
Okay,
Okey-dokey.
That's the 20th.
Tuesday morning.
that's the 20th.
If we have two, all we're gonna do is approve the payroll, really.
I have a question about our meetings. When we set our meetings, we said we're gonna have our meetings every Wednesday.
We won't have one this next
No, but
Wednesday.
we didn't have one last
Well,
Wednesday.
we didn't have a payroll, or we didn't have to pay bills.
But we still have a scheduled meeting, right? I mean, whenever we did our yearly deal, we set our meetings, the motion was that we would have a meeting every Wednesday.
Unless,
Oh, there was some unless in there?
there was an unless of what we discussed. If an unwritten, unless we don't have to have one because of payroll and bills.
I think that's what they said.
Really?
They,
I think that's what we said.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what we said. I thought we said that, let's say, and they would let us know we didn't have payroll or bills to pay.
From now on, we'll have one every Wednesday. That means we'll have one at Tuesday morning at 9, and we'll have one Wednesday morning at 9. You want to skip that Wednesday?
I'll be here Wednesday morning. I can be here Wednesday morning, I can't be here Wednesday afternoon.
We're having one Tuesday morning for the paper.
I'll be here Tuesday.
There are gonna be some people mad if they don't get their checks.
It's Monday night.
No, it's Tuesday.
Do we have a motion? Let's have a motion. Do we have a motion? Let's have a motion for when we're gonna reset.
Tuesday, the 20th, 9 o'clock.
That's your
That's
motion.
my
My
vote.
second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye. Opposed? You're opposed or aye for the motion?
I'm opposed. What is it, what did you say it was gonna be?
You don't want to get paid?
What time? But Tuesday,
Yes, sir.
I can make Tuesday, I'll.
Tuesday at 9 o'clock.
Tuesday.
Motion carried. Now, do you want to have one Wednesday, or we gonna pass that? Just have everything on Tuesday morning.
I think we need to pass on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think so too.
Perfect. We'll have everything on Tuesday.
I might get a motion to pass on Wednesday.
Pass on. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 14. Appoint the selection review committee for the hazard mitigation planning grant and approve the scope and rating criteria.
Judge, did we vote on it, or did we?
All in favor, aye? Nobody says. The last one. Update our hazard mitigation plan, and the state gives you, will give you a grant to have someone write that plan, and or actually just update that plan. We already have a plan.
We've been doing this time and time.
Asking. No. We have had, a person that used to work in their garden, in their,
What they do again.
well, no, we won't do it again. So we're going to have to get an outside firm, and we've already sent out, we approved this, applying for it a while back. And so, as part of us going out for our RFP and then actually getting a grant, we had to have a committee. And I thought the committee probably would just be commissioners.
How many people we need to be on that committee?
I don't know that there's enough.
3? I make a motion to appoint Judge Grant, Craig Goats, and Andy Bonner to
All right.
the hazardous mitigation planning grant and scope and rating criteria.
Would you like to be on,
Don't you second.
would you like to be on that committee?
Would you like to be on there? We can put forward.
Okay.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye? Opposed? All vote aye.
Opposed?
Yeah, so y'all are on there, right?
Yeah.
There you go, Jeff, and one was mine.
See, I never voted with you, see that? All right, now, I have in front of you the scope, and I will tell you that Chris and I have worked on the scope on this, and it's exactly what they sent to us from the state that needed to be on the scope. So, do we have a motion to approve the scope? Y'all can read it, and then we'll come back.
This is what we're gonna be doing.
Who do you think probably will be there? You are. Do we have a motion to approve the
I'll
scope?
make it.
Second.
When we get our RFPs, all in favor, aye? When we get our RFPs back, then I will bring that back, we'll have a short little meeting right before, go over it, talk about the people that have applied, and then make a recommendation to the court. All right? That's it. Comments from commissioners, court members?
I'd like to thank everybody that run for an office, opposed, unopposed, something to go run. It's kind of a hard deal to take sometimes, but I'd like to thank everybody that ran for public office and just some count at any time.
And we appreciate our election workers. Sure do. Very much.
Also, I think Saturday night, there is a barbecue dinner at Southern Oaks at the fire station, barbecue fundraiser kind of thing. And also, I went to, I'm not sure,
I got something on that.
yesterday I went to a meeting. I was blessed to go to a meeting in Waco, and there's some things that might get changed about the meetings, commissioner court meetings where we have to meet to do the payroll. There's some things being done that might change that. And hopefully that'll be done in February, when it, Eddie, maybe?
Well, the next legislature.
Right, the next legislative session, maybe those are gonna get changed, and we won't have to have those meetings every week to approve payroll, and certain bills that are normally done, like utilities, things like that are
Our
normally.
approval list that we had, that we normally would pay without it.
So we have some people that are down there lobbying for that to get changed.
They are, and thank goodness for it. All right, anything else?
I'd like to say too, the auditor's office, they have been doing an amazing job, have really made our job a whole lot easier. Really appreciate you and your team and what you are doing over there, what you have brought to the court. Thank you so much for your great work that y'all do.
Anything else?
We already signed it, Ed.
We have. All
Can
right.
I add something?
Yes.
Sorry. On a positive note, our courthouse will be 100 years old in 2019. And so I've talked to Judge Grant and I've reached out on this serve for some few ideas. And so some of the ideas that we have that I'd like y'all's input, and I'm sure they would too, is maybe a time capsule and inviting elected officials now and any elected official that's still living that has been an elected official, and maybe getting together and doing something. So we're looking for some ideas, so I'd like to encourage y'all to be thinking.
We thought we'd do it during county.
April and county government week.
County government week in April, and,
The time is
so y'all
on.
think about it, bring us some good ideas. Next Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock. All right, we're adjourned.